Welcome all. Today we are going to be discuss the new topic, which is the mechanism of organic reactions. So in mechanism of organic reaction, what exactly we are going to be see? So we will see that what are the basic terms and concept which are going to be utilized during the organic reaction mechanism. We are also going to be see that what are the bond fission, how the bonds are going to be break during the organic reaction mechanism, what are the different type of the reactive intermediates which are normally involved in any of the organic reaction. We are also going to be see some of the terminologies like electrophiles, nucleophiles, base, electrophilicity, acidity, nucleophilicity and basicity. Along with we are going to be see the basic difference between all these terminologies. So in organic reaction mechanism, if you are going to be see that a reaction mechanism is the step by step sequence of the elementary reaction by which overall chemical changes occurs. So in simple, we are going to be see that organic reactions are normally going to be carried out with making of the bond or breaking of the bond. So in simple language, organic reaction mechanism is defined as it is a step by step study of the bond making and bond breaking of the organic reaction. So although only the net chemical change is directly observable for most chemical reaction, experiments can often be designed that suggest the possible sequence of the steps in an organic reaction mechanism. So as we have said that in some of the organic reaction, if you are going to be take the starting material, we are going to be directly observe the product, because in such a case of the reaction it is not possible to isolate the intermediate. But for such type of the organic reaction, a different experiments can be set up like labeling studies, trapping of the intermediate. So all these studies can also going to be suggest the possible pathway of the mechanism for that particular organic reaction. So organic reactions are nothing but the chemical reaction which are normally in all the organic compounds. So the basic organic chemistry reaction types are addition, elimination, substitution, pericyclic, rearrangement and the redox reactions. So reaction mechanism is the step by step sequence of the elementary reactions by which overall chemical change occurs. So in short, organic reaction mechanism is nothing but it is a step by step explanation of the reaction. So in organic reaction mechanism, if we are going to be see, so this is the organic molecule which is going to be called as the substrate, which are going to be reactive with the reagent. So your reactant will be converted into the intermediate, and then intermediate will be converted into the product, or it can be again going to be converted into the byproduct. So during many of the organic reaction, a starting material will be converted into the product or byproduct via the formation of the intermediate. So that's why it is very important all of you should be aware that what are the different type of the intermediates, how that intermediates are going to be formed. So we are going to be see all that in detail one by one. Now reaction mechanism, a sequential account of each step describing the details of electron movement, energetics during the bond cleavage, bond formation and the rate of transformation of the reactant into the product is termed as a reaction mechanism. So in collectively, we can easily say that organic reaction mechanism is nothing but it is the step by step explanation of reaction, as well as it is also going to be give the explanation about how the electrons are moved from one reactive center to the another reactive center. And then again, organic reaction mechanism is also called as what it is the transformation of the reactant into the product, by which rate they are going to be transferred. So it is going to be termed as the kinetics. So all these collectively will be referred as the organic reaction mechanism. So we should understand the basic organic reaction mechanism. So writing equation for organic reaction, how we are going to write the organic reaction? So this is the first example. For organic reactions are usually drawn with a single arrow between the starting material and the product. So whenever we are going to be write down any reaction, like reactant will be there and product will be there, if you are going to utilize a single headed arrow which are normally going to be referred as a reactant is going to be converted into the product. So this is going to be easily observed in this one. This is cyclohexene is going to be termed as a reactant, bromine will be the reagent, and the single headed arrow is indicate that this starting material will be converted into the product. So in many of the times we have to easily observe that this reagent can be right on the left hand side of the main reagent, or it can be right on to the above the arrow. So this is the second example you are going to see that. So reagent can be added on left hand side, or it can be added on to the above the arrow. So all these scientific notations are very important. So if you are going to be see that, we have already seen that how the reagents can be written while writing any of the organic reaction. At other times the reagent is drawn above the arrow itself, so it is like that. They can also be drawn to above the arrow also. Although the solvent is often omitted from the equation, but most organic reaction takes place into the liquid solvent, because many of the times whenever we are going to be represent any organic reaction, we are going to be normally write down the reactant, reagent and the product. In many of the organic reactions, solvents are going to be omitted while giving its representation. The solvents and temperature of the reaction may be added on above the arrow or below the arrow. So this is a single headed arrow. Reagent, solvent or the temperature can be added above or below the arrow. Preferably the reagent should be added above the arrow. Temperature and solvent can be added either above the arrow or below the arrow. It is the two sequential reactions is there. When two sequential reactions are carried out without drawing any intermediate compound, the steps are usually numbered above or below the reaction arrow. That means a starting material ketone is converted into the alcohol by using the first step, it will be the Grignard reagent, and in second step you are going to utilize the second reagent, that is the water or the acid. So that means if we have to write down a two sequential reaction, that means a starting material is going to be reacted with one reactant, and then again it is going to be reacted with the another reagent. This can be written as what? First reagent can be added on above the arrow, and second reagents can be also added above or below the arrow. These conversions signify that a first step occurs before the second step, and the reagents are added in a sequence, not at the same time. So the meaning of this is what? This ketone is going to be first reacted with this Grignard reagent, then one intermediate will be formed, and then that intermediate is going to be carry out reaction with this second reagent. So that means this reagent will be added first and this reagent will be added second. They are not going to be added at the same time. So how organic reactions are occurs? In an organic reaction, we see the transformation that has occurred. The mechanism describes the steps behind the changes that we can observe. So mechanism will always give the explanation about the different steps involved into the conversion of reactant into the product. A reaction occurs in defined steps that lead from the reactant to the product, can also be termed as the organic reaction mechanism. We classify the types of the steps in a sequence. Steps involve either the formation or breaking of a covalent bond. So if this is the organic reaction mechanism, two important things are going to be happen. Either there is a formation of a covalent bond, or there is going to be a breaking of the covalent bond. Steps can occur in individually or in combination with the other steps. So sometimes a single step can be happen, or sometimes multi steps, or the reaction can be happen as in the combination. When several steps occur at the same time, they are said to be as a concerted mechanism. So if one reactant will be converted into the product, it will be the single step. If one reactant will be converted into the one intermediate, then product, then it will be the one or the two step. But many of the organic reactions like pericyclic reaction, where multiple steps are going to be happen into a single steps or at a time. So such type of the reactions are called as what? Concerted reactions. So what is the mechanism? In simple language, organic reaction mechanism is nothing but it is a bond making and bond breaking. A reaction mechanism is a detailed description of how bonds are going to be break and how the bonds are going to be formed from a starting material when it will be converted into the product. A reaction can occur either in one step or it can be happen into a series of the steps. So this is a one step reaction. So if it is a one step reaction, we are going to be observe reactant will be directly converted into the product without formation of any intermediate. For a single step mechanism, if it is a concerted reaction, there is no formation of any intermediate. But if sometime there is a formation of intermediates can be there, so this intermediate we are going to be observe, same reactant will be converted into the product. But in this step, there is a formation of one reactive intermediate. So that means, in this case, a reactant will be first converted into the intermediate and then reactive intermediate will be converted into the product. But in the first case, reactant will be converted into the product directly without formation of any intermediate. So how organic reaction occurs in case of the mechanism? In an organic reaction, we see the transformation that has occurred. The mechanism describes the steps behind the changes that we can observe. Reactions occurs is defined step that lead to from reactant to the product. A reaction is nothing but it is a conversion or it is a steps which gives the explanation of the conversion of the reactant into the product. Now steps in organic reaction mechanism. We classify the types of steps in a sequence. Steps involve either the formation or breaking of a covalent bond. Steps can occur in individually or in a combination with other steps. When several steps occur at the same time, they are said to be concerted. So these are the different steps. So it can be either a single step in which reactant will be converted into the product, breaking of the covalent bond, making of the covalent bond. It can be in the individual or combination of the steps will be there. If multiple steps are going to be happen into a single step, they will be termed as the concerted mechanism. Types of the steps is what bond formation or breakage can be symmetrical or unsymmetrical. So symmetrical bond formation or bond breaking can be there. Symmetrical bond formation or breaking is nothing but what it will be called as a homolytic. And if it is unsymmetrical bond breaking or formation will be there, it will be called as what? Heterolytic bond cleavage. So bond breaking are of two types. It can be either symmetrical, which is called as homolytic cleavage. It can be unsymmetrical or it will be called as heterolytic cleavage. So what is the exact difference between both of them? When symmetrical cleavage of bond is going to be happen, one bond means two electrons will be there. For homolytic cleavage, a covalent bond will be break in such a way that the shared pair of the two electrons will be shared by each atom going to be contain one electron each. That means these bond will be break symmetrical fashion and A will be get one electron and B will get one electron. So we are going to be get what? If it is one electron, it will be termed as a radical A, and if it is will be having one electron to the B, it will be termed as a radical B. That means symmetrical or homolytic cleavage of the bond will be responsible for formation of the free radical. But if it is going to be carried out by using the unsymmetrical cleavage or heterolytic cleavage, both the electron can be shared by either B, then it is going to be termed as a B minus, and if it is both electron is going to be termed as A, it will be termed as A minus. So accordingly the bond is going to be break. In such a case, if it is a heterolytic cleavage, there is a formation of the charge. That means unsymmetrical cleavage or heterolytic cleavage will be responsible for the formation of the polar molecules, and which can be either the formation of intermediates like carbocation, carbanion, carbene or nitrine type of the intermediate. So bond making is also of the same thing. If This is also having the A free radical and B free radical. Both are going to be shared one electron. If they are going to be form the covalent bond by the symmetrical thing, they will be form one covalent bond. So this is the bond making by the symmetrical process. And this is also the bond making between A plus and B minus by the unsymmetrical process. Indicating the steps into the mechanism. A curve arrow indicate the breaking and formation of the bond. So in previous one or two slides we already seen how the arrows are going to be takes place important role into the organic reaction mechanism, because there are different arrows which are normally going to be utilized into the organic reactions while writing the reaction mechanism. So we should know the importance and significance of all the arrows. So curve arrow indicate breaking and formation of the bond. So this is a curve arrow. But this is what if you are going to be observed. Although this is the curve arrow, but head of the arrow is only half. So that is, it is called the half head arrow, or which is also called as fish hook arrow. So this fish hook arrow is the indication for the homolytic cleavage, and which are normally going to be utilized into the radical cleavage process or the radical formation. Now if this is also what curve arrow, but in curve arrow this head is what, it is not half, it is full headed arrow. So in this case it will be termed as what, heterolytic cleavage. So whenever there is homolytic cleavage, it should be written by the, for homolytic cleavage it will be written by the fish hook arrow, and for heterolytic cleavage or formation of the bond it should be written by this complete headed arrow. So these are also the electron movements in organic reaction. We are going to be see one by one. The movement of electrons in organic reaction can be shown by the curve arrows. They can be shown by the curve arrow notation. It shows how electrons are going to be transferred from one reactant to the other reactant, or what is the changes is going to be happen into the bond formation or bond breaking. Now come towards this one. So this is the double bond will be there, and this is Y will be there. So this indicate that if I am going to be transfer this arrow, this indicate that a pi bond has changed its position from this side to the another side of the Y. So this is the movement of the electron from this position to the next position, and we are going to be form here as a double bond. So if double bonds are going to be having the, you can see easily the electrons has been transferred into the next bond, so there is a formation of double bond. But in second example there is the electrons has been transferred into the Y. So if it is going to be transferred into the Y, it is going to be termed as a Y minus, or the lone pair of the electron will be there, and this can be written by this way. So these are the different type of the electron movements can be written in organic reaction mechanism. How electrons are moved from electron deficient system to the how electrons are going to be moved from electron rich system to the electron deficient system. Now fission into the covalent bond. So as we already discussed some of the two things how the bonds are going to be break. So very first fission is what, it is either fission of the covalent bond can be carried out by using either homolytic cleavage or the heterolytic cleavage. In heterolytic cleavage we have seen the bonds are going to be break in fashion such that a shared pair of the electrons remain with one of the fragment in case of the heterolytic cleavage. So we are going to be observe heterolytic means what, a shared pair of the electron between carbon and bromine will be shared by only bromine. So in that case during heterolytic cleavage there is a formation of the polar intermediate, so that's why there is a formation of the plus charge and the minus charge into the product. So this is the heterolytic cleavage. So if a shared pair of the electron will be transferred into the bromine, bromine will contain the negative charge and CS3 is going to be contained as the positive charge, because electrons has been transferred from carbon to the bromine. One atom has a sextate, so it depends upon the sextate and all the octet rule is going to be obeyed. Now a species having a carbon atom possessing a sextate of electrons, and a positive charge is called as a carbocation. So which is also known as what? Carbocation, which is also known as a carbonium ion. So this CS3 plus, which is called as a carbocation. So we are going to be see all these detail one by one. Now, so the carbocations can be of different types. It can be the primary carbocation, secondary carbocation, tertiary carbocation. It can be a benzylic carbocation. It can also, there can also be the allylic carbocation. So this is the stability order of the carbocation. And we are already seen the carbocations can be formed by the heterolytic cleavage. So this is the methyl carbocation, ethyl, isopropyl, and tertiary butyl, in which we know that tertiary butyl or the tertiary carbocation is more stable than secondary. Secondary carbocation will be more stable than primary, and primary carbocation will be more stable than the methyl carbocation. So this is the case which are going to be observed in case of the carbocation stability. So what is the homolytic cleavage? So the homolytic cleavage is one of the electrons in which shared pairs in a covalent bond goes with each of the bonded atoms. So it will go with to each of the atoms. Thus, in homolytic cleavage, the movement of a single electron takes place instead of an electron pair. Instead of an electron pair. Such cleavage results into the formation of neutral spaces. So that means homolytic cleavage are going to be sometime will give the formation of neutral spaces with one unpaired electron. These spaces are also called as what? Free radicals. So that means homolytic cleavage will be responsible for the generation of the free radical. So majority of the organic reactions are going to be carried out by using homolytic cleavage, which is also called as what? Free radical reaction. A homolytic cleavage can be shown like this one. So a bond between R and X, which contain a lone pair, contain a shared pair of the electrons. Both the pair of electrons will be shared by homolytic cleavage. That means one electron will be shared by R and another electron will be shared by X. So that case, R is going to be formed as R radical and it will form as the X radical. So that means this radical cleavage, which has been shown by the Fichu-Caro, which is called as the homolytic cleavage, which always give the formation of the free radical. And homolytic cleavage or free radical reactions are always going to be carried out in presence of the heat or the light. So these are some of the orbital diagram you are going to be observed. So this is a methyl carbocation is there. So this is methyl radical and third one is a methyl anion. So carbocations are highly unstable because they are going to be contain the electron deficiency in there. So carbocations can be easily stabilized by either inductive effect, resonance effect or the hyperconjugation effect. So the carbocations which has the always we are going to be observed that this is the carbocation structure is there, which is having the sp2 hybridization and which is having the trigonal planar nature. In case of the CS3, this sp2 hybridize. This is a carbon atom which is sp2 and this is the vacant p orbital where the electrons will be shared if there is any reaction with the electron rich system. Now this is also we are going to be see that in case of the carbanion which is also termed as the methyl anion, we have given the example, which is sp3 hybridization and tetrahedral nature will be there. In case of the free radical, which is having the 1 2pz orbital, so free radical can be remain into either sp3 or sp2 hybridization, depends upon the orientation of the free electron, whether they are into the singlet state or triplet state. So this we have already seen example. Heterolytic cleavage can always give the formation of the charge species. So the bond between A and B will be break by heterolytic cleavage. So if both electron will be shared by B, it will form the B minus and remaining charge will be on the A, will be the A plus. But if both electron will be shared by A, it is going to be formed the A minus and it will be formed as the B plus. So in this case, If there is a formation of these one, so there is a formation of the carbanion as well as the carbocation. So this will be termed as a carbanion, this will be termed as a carbocation. So that means heterolytic cleavage are always responsible for the generation of the carbocation as well as the carbanions. Carbanions are also unstable and reactive species. So this is one of the example of the homolytic cleavage or homolysis. In homolysis, there is a formation of free radical will be there. The electron pairs will be shared equally by A and B. So both of them are going to be contain one free electron each. So they will be termed as a free radical, and this is going to be form the homolytic cleavage. Homolysis are always responsible for the generation of the uncharged reactive intermediate with unpaired electron, and that reactive intermediates are the free radical. Now heterolytic cleavage or heterolysis. So in heterolysis we can easily observe, so whenever there is heterolytic cleavage, electrons between these two atoms or this covalent bond will be shared unequally. It can be shared by either A, in that case it will form A minus, and B will become B plus. If both the electron from this covalent bond will be shared by B, it will form as the B minus, and another atom will come as a A plus. That means whenever there is heterolytic cleavage, there will be the formation of the charge spaces. Now breaking a covalent bond by unequally dividing the electrons between these two can be responsible for the heterolytic cleavage. Now heterolysis will be always give the formation of the polar intermediate. So it depends upon the A and B. If there is a bond between A and B, electrons will be moved or will be shared by the atom which is more electronegative. Heterolysis will be always responsible for the generation of the charge intermediate like carbocations, carbanions, etc. Now indicating the steps in mechanism. So as we already see, the curve arrow that we have already seen, that curve arrow indicate the breaking and formation of the bond. So this homolysis will be responsible for the charge formation of the free radical. Heterolysis will be responsible for the formation of the charge intermediate like A plus and B minus. So this arrow is very important. This arrow is Fish-Hook arrow and can be shown by the half-headed with its indication of the single electron. This is the full-headed arrow. Curly arrow will indication for the transfer of the pair of the electron. Transfer of the pair of the electron. So this is the difference between homolysis and heterolysis with respect to the curve arrows. Now reaction intermediate. So as we already discussed in previous slide, homolysis will be always responsible for the formation of the free radical intermediate, whereas heterolysis will be responsible for the formation of the polar intermediates like carbocation or the carbanion, that which is also called as what? Ionic intermediate. Now this is also the same example that we have seen in the previous slide. Heterolysis generate the carbanion or the carbocation which are unstable. So this is the heterolysis cleavage. There is a formation of the carbocation as well as a carbanion. Now carbanion contains a carbon surrounded by 6 electrons. We have in some of the previous slide we have seen that carbocation, which is sp3 hybridized, trigonal planar geometry will be there. Carbanion, which is sp3 hybridized, which is with the tetrahedral geometry will be there. So we have already seen some of the geometry and hybridization of the carbocation as well as carbanion. So this is what basic difference between the free radical, carbocation, carbanion. Free radical will be having the 7 electron. Carbocation will be having the 6 electron, whereas the carbanion will be having the 8 electrons. So octet will full. Here is the 2 electrons are less for the octet. Here is 1 electron will be less for the octet. So in this case, carbocations will be termed as the electron deficient species, whereas the carbanion will be termed as the electron rich species. So carbocation which is having one electron less, carbocation which is having two electron less, and free radical which is having one electron less, that means they are having the electron deficiency with respect to the octet rule. So that means they are going to be acts as the electron deficient center, and they are going to be behave as the electrophiles. But in case of the carbanion, all 8 electrons are there, so carbanions are going to be behave as the nucleophiles, and they are can donate the lone pair of the electron to the other atom. So this is how basically reactions are going to happen. This is the tertiary butyl alcohol. With loss of water it will form OH minus, and the remaining system form will be the tertiary butyl carbocation. In case of the butyl ethyl lithium, if lithium will be removed as the metal, it will form the ethyl radical. That means it is a not ethyl radical, it will form the carbanion. How does bond formation occurs? So bond formation can be occurs by sharing the one electron between the two free radicals. So there is a free radical A as well as free radical B. Both free radical will share one electron each, and then there will be the formation of one bond. So in case of the carbocations and carbanions, so A is what? Electron deficient, which is going to be termed as the electrophile, which is electron poor. B is which is electron rich, which is nucleophile, which is termed as the electron rich system. So B is going to be shared its electron or donate its electron to the electron deficient center. So this migration will be shown here by the red arrow. So there is a formation of the bond between A and B, and this bond is termed as the covalent bond formation. So this is what an electrophile can be a Lewis acid. The nucleophile can be termed as a Lewis base, which can donate the lone pair of the electron. As electrophile, which is going to be accept the lone pair of the electron, so Lewis acid are termed as the electrophiles. In case of the nucleophile, which can donate the lone pair of the electron, so they can also term as the Lewis base. So these are the terminologies or the basic difference between all the arrows. A single headed arrow is the indication of what? Reactant will be converted into the product. This arrow, which is the equilibrium arrow, which is going to be distinguished between the, this is also called the double headed arrow, which is also called as what? Drawn between the starting metal and product when both reactant and the products are into the equilibrium. So this is double headed arrow, but two arrows are different. This is a simple double headed arrow, which are normally going to be written in case of the resonance structure. So this is a fully headed arrow shown when there is a movement of the lone pair of the electron. This Fishhook arrow or the half headed arrow can be shown when there is a transfer of the single electron or the free radical reactions. So this is how reactions are going to be happen. Curve arrows are a way to keep track onto the bonding reaction. So it gives in this these electrons will be transferred onto E. Nitrogen, which is having the lone pair, which is also transfer the electron E. This will also transfer the electron. So it will indicate how the electrons are going to be moved into the reactions. The arrow tracks the electron movement. That means in this example, this arrow indicate electrons are transferred from oxygen to E. That is the electrophile. So this is the tracking of movement of electrons. One curve arrow corresponds to one step in a reaction mechanism. So sometimes a curve arrow can be termed as the one step in any of the organic reaction. The arrow goes from the nucleophilic reaction site to the electrophilic reaction site. That means the movement of arrow can be shown only from electron rich nucleophile to the electron deficient electrophile. Rules for using the curve arrow. The nucleophile site can be neutral or negatively charged. So this is one of the example for the negatively charged as well as the neutral. So this is one of the example. This is alkoxide ion and this is methanol. So in this case, a starting material which is CH3O minus, which is the methoxide ion, which contain the negative charge. In the second example, this is the double bond. So there is a negative charge and there is a double bond. But in this case, both alkoxide ion as well as the alkene are going to be acts as the nucleophile. So that indicate that a nucleophiles can be a negative charge like oxide ion, or nucleophiles can be a neutral charge, or it can be a neutral like the olefin. Okay, now in case of the electrophile can be a neutral or positive charge. So we are going to be now observe here first example. Here this hydrogen and the bromine, so which is neutral in nature, so this electron will be transferred, so there is no any charge, so this electrophilic center which is neutral in nature. But in second example we can easily observe there is a positive charge on this electrophile, so that means a electrophilic site can be a neutral or positive charge. That means a electrophilic center can be neutral or it can be the positively charged. So octet rule should not be exceed. These are some of the arrows indicate. This is the fish hook. This is the fish hook arrow, which indicate the formation of free radical. This is the fully headed arrow, curve arrow, indicate formation of carbocation. This arrow indicate the transfer of electron from bromine to the electrophilic center, and there is a formation of new covalent bond between carbon and bromine. So this is how arrows are going to be takes place important role during the organic reaction mechanism. Describing a reaction, equilibrium, rates and energy changes. Now this is a reaction in which starting material A is going to be reacted with another starting material B. Whenever they are going to be converting products C and D, this arrow is there. This arrow indicate what? These reactions are in equilibrium to each other. So the equilibrium can be written as what? Rate of the equilibrium will be nothing but K equilibrium is equal to concentration of the product divided by concentration of the reactant. So it will become as what? Concentration of the product C and D divided by concentration of the reactant, like reactant A and B. So this is the K equilibrium will be there. For a reaction to be practical, the equilibrium must favor and the reaction rate must be fast enough to form them a reasonable time. So equilibrium should be there. If we want to any organic reaction to become a practical or to become converted into the product, it will be possible only and only when equilibrium will be favor into the product. Then and then reaction rate must be fast enough. These two conditions depends upon thermodynamic and kinetic respectively. Thermodynamic describe how the energies of the reactant and product compare and what the relative amount of the reactant and products are going to be at equilibrium. And kinetic describe the rate of the reaction. So the equilibrium constant K equilibrium is a mathematical expression that relates the amount of starting material and the product at equilibrium. So magnitude of equilibrium constant, when K equilibrium is greater than 1, when K equilibrium will be greater than 1, then reaction will favor the product C and D. Product C and D. And this can be if. Second case, if K equilibrium will be less than 1, equilibrium will favor the reactant. That means toward the left hand side. For a reaction to be useful, the equilibrium constant must favor the product, that is K equilibrium should be greater than 1. So that means for any organic reaction or reactant to convert into the product, a equilibrium constant should be greater than 1. Then and then it will favor into the product. So what are the reaction intermediate? So if you are going to be see the reaction intermediate, most of the organic reactions occurs through the involvement of certain chemical species. These are generally very short-lived and highly reactive and hence cannot be isolated. So the short-lived, highly reactive chemical species through which the majority of the organic reactions occurs are called as the reactive intermediate. So what are the different type of the reactive intermediates are there? Some of the reactive intermediates are carbocations. Some of the reactive intermediates are carbocation, carbanion, free radical, carbene, as well as the nitrines are there. So what are the carbocations? As we have seen previously in some of the slides, the carbocations are the positively charged species like methyl cation. So this is the structure for the carbocation, which is sp2 hybridization with trigonal planar geometry. So this is the orbital representation for the carbocation. So this will indication for the MTP orbital. If we are going to be see the stability of the carbocation, see the simple carbocations like alkyl carbocation, tertiary carbocation, secondary, primary, and methyl. So we are already seen that tertiary carbocations are more stable than secondary, than primary, than methyl due to the hyperconjugation effect. And if resonance effect are going to be takes place important role in case of the benzylic and allylic carbocation. So benzylic and allylic carbocations are stable due to the resonance structures. Now carbanions. Carb anions, that means they are the negatively charged species. Negative charge will be present on the carbon. Example is methyl anion. So this is what methyl anion is there. So this is a structure for the carbanion, which is sp3 hybridization with tetrahedral geometry will be there. If you are going to be see the stability of simple carbanion, so this will be like this. So this is the primary carbanion, secondary carbanion, this is the tertiary carbanion will be there. This will be the methyl carbanion. Due to the electron donating inductive effect of R group, a tertiary carbanion will become less stable than secondary, than primary, than methyl. So in by electron donating inductive effect, methyl carbanion will be more stable than primary, than secondary, than tertiary carbanion. So tertiary carbanion will be less stable, whereas methyl carbanion will be the most stable. So if the benzylic carbanion is there as well as allylic carbanion is there, they can be stabilized by the resonance structure. So the another example is what? Free radical. Free radical are the species that contain one or more unpaired electron. They can be formed by the homolytic cleavage or homolysis. So this is a structure, depends upon the free radical nature, whether they are planar geometry or the pyramidal geometry. So if free radical can be remain into the two possible geometries like the planar as well as the pyramidal. In case of the planar geometry, it will exhibit the sp2 hybridization, and in case of the pyramidal, it will show the sp3 hybridization with pyramidal geometry, and everything will be depends upon the free radical nature, whether they are singlet or the triplet species. So what are the nucleophile? So as we have seen in some of the previous slide, what are the electrophiles, what are the nucleophiles? A reagent which can donate an electron pair in a reaction is called as the nucleophile. A reagent which can donate an electron pair in a reaction is called as the nucleophile. The name nucleophile means a nucleus loving and indicate that it can attack the region with low electron density, that is electron deficient center or the electrophile. Nucleophiles are electron rich species. They may be negative ions including the carbanions or the neutral molecules. So nucleophiles can be a neutral molecule or they can be a negatively charged species. Nucleophiles can be normally represented by the symbol Nu. Some of the example of the nucleophiles are like chloride, bromide, then it can be the iodide, nitrile, hydroxide, alkyl, then the ammonia, primary amine, water and alcohol. So we are going to be easily observed. So nucleophile, the chloride, bromide, iodide, nitrile, hydroxide, all these are negatively charged, whereas the primary amine, water and alcohol, all they are neutral. So that means a nucleophile can be a negatively charged or the neutral species. So now what is the electrophile? Electrophiles are electron deficient species, a reagent which can accept an electron pair in a reaction is called as the electrophile. The name electrophile means electron loving and indicate that it attacks the region of the negative center. They are highly electron deficient species. They may be the positive charge or they may be the neutral molecule, depends upon the nature. And electrophile can be denoted as E+. Some of the examples are proton, chlorine, bromine, iodine having the positive charge, nitronium ion, tertiary carbocation, sulfonic acid, AlCl3 and BF3 as a Lewis acid. So all these are the example of the electrophile. But in first 4 example you can observe there is a positive charge, and last 3 example you can observe there is no positive charge. That means electrophiles can be either positively charged or they can be a neutral species like Lewis acid. So what is the difference between electrophiles and nucleophiles? A reagent that bring an electron pair is called as the nucleophile. So nucleus seeking and the reaction is then called as the nucleophilic reaction. A reagent that takes away an electron pair is called as the electrophile, and the reaction will be called as electrophilic. So during a polar organic reaction, nucleophile attack an electrophilic center. Nucleophile attack the electrophilic center. Similarly, the electrophile attack at nucleophilic center, which is the electron rich center of the substrate. Thus, the electrophile receive the electron from the nucleophile when the two undergoes the bonding interaction. A curved arrow always noted that electrons are moved from nucleophile to the electrophile. There are some of the example of the nucleophiles as well as the electrophiles. Nucleophiles are the negatively charged species like hydroxide, cyanide as well as the carbanion. Neutral molecules can also access the electrophile. Some of the example is the water. So if you are going to be take the example of the carbonyl carbon. In carbonyl carbon, due to the electronegative oxygen atom, carbonyl carbon is going to be access the electrophilic center. Whereas in case of the tertiary butyl alkyl halide, halide which is electronegative, which makes the tertiary carbon atom as the electrophilic center. Some of the examples of the electrophiles and nucleophiles. The carbon atom in the carbocations has sextet configuration. That means which is having the electron deficient nature. So they are going to be access the electrophile, and nucleophiles are going to be attack on that electrophilic carbon atom. A neutral molecule like alkyl halide, due to the polarity of the CX bond, that carbon is going to become as the electrophilic center, and nucleophile can easily attack on that carbon, such as the example in case of the SN1 and SN2 reactions. The carbon atom in carbocations has, we have already seen some of the examples of this. Now come toward the base. Now base is any system which can donate the lone pair of the electron, or which can accept the proton. So this is the base. Ammonia, which can accept the proton, will form the conjugate acid. Now basicity is the ability of a group to receive a proton or to donate the lone pair. So base are the compounds which can receive the proton or which can accept the proton, or they are also going to be donate the lone pair of the electron, as in case of the Lewis basicity. The evaluation of the base is going to be termed in case of the basicity. Nucleophile, we are already aware that nucleophiles are the either negatively charged or neutral species with electron rich species, and the ability of the nucleophile to donate the lone pair will be term in case of the nucleophilicity. So nucleophilicity versus basicity. Nucleophilicity and basicity are very similar properties. In some of the cases, nucleophiles are usually also as the bases, like hydroxide ion as well as the alkoxide ion. But surprisingly, lone pair donor like Lewis bases compared to the two pair of electron mechanism shown below, like this one. So this is the nucleophile which is going to be attack on the electrophilic center. Leaving group will be leave. So nucleophilicity is the kinetically controlled reaction of a lone pair donor with an electrophilic carbon, and which give the formation of CX bond. And basicity is what? Which is in terms of the proton. So the basic difference between nucleophilicity and basicity is that nucleophilicity is the kinetic term, whereas the basicity is the thermodynamic term. Nucleophilicity is going to be carried out with respect to the electrophile, whereas the basicity is going to be carried out with respect to the abstraction of the proton. Basicity is simply a special kind of the nucleophilicity. Both terms are quite related to each other in case of the organic chemistry. The two are related in that most nucleophiles are like Lewis bases. So good nucleophiles are also going to be act as a strong base. Some of the example like hydroxide ion, halide ions. So hydroxide ion species are a good nucleophile and a weak base, whereas the halide ions can act as a weak nucleophile and a strong base. Tertiary butoxide ion can also going to belong to the same series. Nucleophilicity is the kinetic phenomena. There is a difference between the things is that basicity is particularly kind of nucleophilicity. A nucleophile is a chemical species that donate an electron pair to an electrophile. A nucleophile can also be called as a base when this donation occurs with respect to the hydrogen ion or the proton. A electron deficient atom, ion or molecule that has an affinity for an electron pair and will bond to a nucleophile or the base. And nucleophile, which is an atom, ion or a molecule that has an electron pair that may be donated to the electron deficient center, like electrophiles. Basicity is going to be termed with respect to the proton abstraction. The strongest base have the weakest conjugate acid and vice versa. The range of basicity included into the following table is remarkable. We are going to be easily observe. Now, nucleophilicity is more complex property. It commonly refers to the substitution reaction. The nucleophilicity of the nucleophile like reactant, like this one. So what is the difference between nucleophilicity and basicity? Now the basic difference is what? Nucleophilicity are going to be Lewis bases. They donate a lone pair of the electron. Base is just the name we given to the nucleophile when it is forming a bond to a proton. To summarize, basicity and nucleophilicity, they are almost the same terminologies. Basicity, nucleophile attacks the hydrogen. Nucleophilicity, nucleophile attack may atom other than hydrogen atom. Nucleophilicity and basicity, they are more easily reversible for one thing. We can measure the acidity through the measurement of pKa value, which is the reflection of the position of the equilibrium between the acid and its conjugate base. Basicity is measured as the pKa. pKa is nothing but the negative log of 10 Ka. It depends upon the dissociation constant. Nucleophility is measured in terms of the relative coefficient like K. So these are the diagrammatic representation of some of the basicity as well as nucleophilicity. We can easily form, as we are going from top to the bottom into the periodic table from fluoride, chloride, bromide, iodide. Basicity is going to be increases, whereas nucleophilicity is going to be decreases. Some of the factors that can affect the basicity and nucleophilicity, it depends upon the element. It depends if both the atoms are belong to the same period, same element, or if both the atoms are going to become to the same group. So these factors like same element group, same period group, same group will be there, will be responsible for the basicity and nucleophilicity properties. So in this video we have seen what is organic reaction mechanism, what is the importance of the different arrows into the organic reaction mechanism, what is different type of the intermediates, how the intermediates are going to be formed, what is the stability of intermediate, how the bonds are going to be break and the form, if there is a cleavage of the bond, how the bonds are going to be cleaved by the homolytic fission or heterolytic fission, how that intermediates are going to be generated, as well as we have also seen that what is the difference between acid, acidity, base, basicity, nucleophile, nucleophilicity, electrophile and electrophilicity. So if you like the content of this video, you can share the video as well as you can subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you.